You guys remember Corepunk, right? I did a video of it back in December 2019, so just last year. And I will admit there are some of you that were definitely not all that happy with what was shown at the time. The general complaint that I've seen among the vocal majority that were upset with the game was due to the game's speed, which is actually one of the very first things that the dev team worked on after releasing the first gameplay trailer. Now, since then, the devs have been pretty quiet, but a few days ago, IGN went and released a brand new trailer featuring exclusive alpha gameplay for the game. This trailer went on to detail a lot of what the game has to offer, showing the overhauled speed of the game, the graphical and mechanical improvements, and how much progress has been made in the 6-month span. And yes, for those of you that are currently wondering, the gameplay on the left of the screen right now is from the very first trailer released for the game back in December 2019, and then the gameplay over on the right is from the trailer released just several days ago. But you know what? Enough of the comparisons. Let's go ahead and focus on what's new to the game. So the beginning of the video actually shows us Leofa and Dragom, an archer and a great sword wielding warrior, exploring what seems to be an inn called Rudy's Foodies in the middle of the Sleepy Hollow. Yes, the game is from an isometric point of view. If that's an issue for you, then it's probably best to go ahead and stop the video here. I know isometric MMOs are definitely not everyone's cup of tea. I'm really not all that fond of them myself, but there are a few that I've played over the years that I did really enjoy. The game thus far has been voice acted in English, and it honestly is not bad. When accepting quests, there seems to be a little option wheel above your character's portrait that allows you to either accept or turn down the quest. I think that there are going to be like additional options that branch out with new dialogue, and that is pretty cool. It's not often that we have the freedom to kind of choose the flow of the conversation in MMOs. There's some basic exploration that takes place over the course of the next minute or two that involves the destruction of items in the wilderness like urns and boxes, and yes, from the looks of things, your character is actually capable of swimming. The game thus far utilizes a fog of war system that keeps the majority of the map hidden until you explore it. Although, from what it looks like, the map continues to re-hide itself once again, even after you've explored it. After a few minutes, the two encounter some monsters and we get the first glimpse of the overhauled combat system. Much like other games in the isometric genre, you move with your mouse, pointing and clicking on the ground, and using your keyboard to initiate skills and use items. The combat is still noticeably slower than your traditional MMO, but that's due to the kind of game that this is. Honestly though, to me, the combat, it doesn't look bad at all. It actually looks pretty good for an isometric game. Like, you know, yeah, granted, it does kind of lag on a little bit. The animations could definitely use some work, but overall, it is still pretty solid considering this is what, pre-alpha footage? I've never been a fan of archers though. I've always been more prone to playing mages, so I guess that's where we'll really see how the game comes together. About halfway through the video, we get the first glimpse of the character inventory and the equipment menu. It seems as though equipping different weapons changes the appearance of the equipped weapon, which is always refreshing to see. And then the same applies to the armor, as we can see as Leofa equips a yellow jacket. Shortly after, we see the players leave the Sleepy Hollow, which is where the first half of the trailer took place, and move into the Whispering Mire. As was evident, there was absolutely no loading screens between zones, which is something almost unheard of in an isometric MMO. Like, I'm gonna be real with you guys here, even Path of Exile, Lost Ark, Diablo, all have loading screens when moving between zones. So the fact that this actually doesn't is a very nice, very refreshing change of pace. So far, I do want to note though that the aesthetic feel of the world is incredible. Both zones thus far have looked absolutely beautiful, although my main concern with what I've seen thus far is that the game looks a little bit too much like a League of Legends MMO. And then the rest of the trailer goes and takes place in the junkyard and features the two heroes running around, exploring, solving puzzles, and killing enemies. If you're interested in seeing the entire trailer, then you can go ahead and head on over to the IGN channel and take a look there. But I feel like either doing a full 15 or 16 minute reaction to this is just a ludicrous idea, and there is no way that I could find 15 minutes worth of information currently known to us to actually fill that time frame. You know what though? I was excited for this game when I saw it at the end of 2019, and after what I have seen now, I'm probably even more so. I mean, you know, yes, the game does still look a little slow. That is to be expected. Most, if not all, isometric MMOs have this very same flaw, but nowhere does Corepunk claim to be, I don't know, like a fast-paced action game, so I feel like we can all give it an easy pass. Plus, I have always been a fan of this kind of combat system in games, and I have always been a fan of isometric titles, so this kind of appeals to me. Now, we have only seen 3 different locations in the trailer, and all 3 look fantastic. The seamless transition between zones is something that is sorely missing these days. Add on to that, they absolutely nailed the soundtrack, and got some solid voice acting talent in there to bring the world to life. There's interaction in game with the environment, there are puzzles to solve. Honestly, they really sold me on this trailer, and judging from the reception in the comment section, I dare say they sold a lot of people on the game with the trailer. Providing options when completing quests, such as the ability to kill the boss towards the end of the video, is a very nice addition to not only the game, but also to the genre. Too often, we get cookie-cutter quests with absolutely no personality. This is something, actually, that Star Wars: The Old Republic did really well. I feel as though we're probably moving in the right direction with Corepunk. I mean, you know, I feel like the combat animations could still definitely use some work, and the special effects could also still be improved, but you know what, otherwise I am impressed with what I've seen, especially considering this is pre-alpha footage. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to meet their goal of going into some form of testing during the course of 2020, but even if it takes into 2021 due to what's going on in the world, that is more than fine. If they continue to take their time with the game, you know it's going to continue to be reflected in the gameplay, and that is always welcome. Developers that care about their game actually produce quality titles after all, and I can see Corepunk being an MMO that not only appeals to a solid niche of MMO fan, but is also better than the rest of the competition on the market. Or maybe I'm just being optimistic, I don't know. But that's just my opinion, my first impressions of the game. What do you guys think? Does this look like something you'd be interested in? Let me know down in the comments below, and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it.